So I think that sometimes we get lost in the theatrics, I'm gonna call it, of entrepreneurship, and sometimes we forget the simplistic beauty of it and what a blessing it is. For instance, right now I'm currently eating three beautiful breakfast tacos while doing my business. Like, I'm making money while eating breakfast tacos on a Friday morning. And I think that there's a beauty to that we don't realize. Like, entrepreneurship, having my own business gives me the freedom to make money while eating food and simply reaching out to people to help them with their business and make an impact in their lives, all while getting paid to do it. And I think that sometimes we get caught up in the ideal that entrepreneurship is the trips to Monaco, the huge expensive cars and all of that, which is great and, a dream for all of us starting our own business. But at the end of the day, the beauty of it is having the freedom to do something you love and being able to help make other people's lives better. And I think that we should never lose sight of that. We should always strive to keep that as our main target, is to help people and make impacts in their lives and enjoy the freedom that we get from the gift of entrepreneurship. So I'm gonna get back to reaching out to more people, seeing how I can help them in their business and help save them money and taxes and grow their wealth while eating some fire breakfast tacos. So talk to y'all soon. So something I've been thinking about lately is how people are making business to be a lot more difficult than it should be. So there's several ways that I hear this being done. It's people think that you have to have this grand idea, you have to get VC backing, you have to do all this crazy stuff. But that's just not the reality of it, and I admire people who think in big terms like that, but also I think that a lot of people are not meant for that, and a lot of people are meant to have a regular cash flow business that produces them cash flow before stepping into that type of thing. And I think that that's just something that people need to realize. So what I'm trying to say is how business is not, it doesn't require VC backing. It doesn't require these huge AI software companies to build these new projects. Those are great and very innovative, and I respect anybody in that field, but it's not necessary. Most people, what they need to realize is that business comes down into just a few simple steps. So the first one is figure out what your skills are. So for me, accounting, tax advisory, boom, figured out my skills. The next thing is to begin to build an audience around what your niche is. And I think that part of this is also creating a entrepreneurial brand where it's not just about your niche, but also your other interest and taking you as a person. Because nowadays in business, people are buying because of the entrepreneur behind the business rather than buying because of what the business's reputation is. It's more based on the entrepreneur's reputation. So step one, find your niche. Step two, begin to create an audience. Step three is where you start to deliver that product or that service to that audience. So by having the audience, you already have buyers. Used to, you had to formulate a service, find buyers, and then you would build an audience over time. But now it's kind of reversed, where we have this social media where you can instantly build this huge audience. You can post on the internet and you instantly are viewed by hundreds of people. That's unheard of in business compared to, back when, say, our parents or grandparents were creating a business. They, were only local, and that really inhibited their growth, versus now we have this massive distribution channels. And so from there, what you're going to do is just continue to sell your service or your product, whatever that is, onto that audience. And eventually what you can do is you can start to take that excess profit by doing strategic tax planning, this is where my part of my brain, how it works, comes in. And you start to take that tax planning to have your excess income be reinvested into other spots. So I think where a lot of people go wrong is they're just starting out and they're thinking, oh, I need to invest in real estate, I need to invest in crypto, I need to invest in stocks, and all of that. But the reality is that you need cash flow in order to do that. So focus on producing cash flow. And then down the road, what you can do is you can start to worry about, okay, I'm starting to pay a little too much in tax, so let's make an S Corp election. Okay, so now I'm still paying a little too much in tax. Let's offset some of that income with real estate investments, getting some depreciation going. Or we can do oil and gas, or we can invest in different retirement accounts. And so that's where you really start to balloon up and you start to get these ownership plays. You start to get these large capital outflow plays where, you're starting to get equity in other businesses. You're starting to really expand your empire. But once again, back to what I was originally saying, these are not things that you do from the start. At start, you need cash flow. Cash flow is king. It will always be king. And you need to have cash coming in order to be able to reinvest and grow your main business. You could think of it as the main trunk of your life is your cash flow business. But off of that, you have several branches of real estate, crypto, oil and gas, other side businesses, investing in other businesses. And that's how you should set up your life. And just remember that business is simple, but it's not easy. It takes a lot of consistency, it takes a lot of discipline, and it takes a lot of action, not just thinking. But it is simple. You create an audience, you create an offer, and you sell it to that. And you rinse and repeat until it becomes large enough to where you can branch into other things and truly grow your wealth empire. So, yeah, just my thoughts from this morning. Hope y'all enjoyed it. And yeah, create a cash flow business and begin to crush it. So it is 8:16 on Monday morning, and just wanted to kind of wrap up this video with some closing thoughts from this past week. So I have recently been in a little bit of a rut. Don't know what the funk's about. Just been kind of in a little bit of a funk. And so I felt on my heart to do a little bit of a longer fast. So I actually ended up doing a 72-hour fast, and it ends today at 11:30. So it's been a little rough, I'm not gonna lie. It's the purpose of fasting is to not deny your flesh in order to get closer to God. And so that's what I've done. Spent a lot of time in prayer, a lot of time in worship, a lot of time in the Word. It's been very fruitful. So in terms of business though, I just want to remind y'all that although the world makes us seem like we have this short timeline, like we have this very, very short timeline in order to make it, I just want to encourage y'all to remember that it's okay to be, grinding for 3 years before you make it. Like, some of the biggest people on the internet, you don't know it, but it took them years to get to where they're at. And that's just the reality of it. The internet shows us the 1% best part of our lives, not the grinding in the trenches and the building of the business. I mean, despite what different opinions you might have, look at Iman Gadzhi. I mean, he's been documenting his life for 10 years now, something like that. And he is at this point now where you can look back and see how he leveled up. And so just remember that it's not always going to be built in one night. It's not always going to be built in 1 month. It's not always going to be built in 1 year. And that the biggest thing in business is to continue to show up, to continue to be relentless in your pursuit to improve your business, improve your life, and continue day by day to show up, to deny the distractions of the world, to deny any outside messages, anything influencing you away from what you know your calling is. And if you just continue to show up in time, it will be built. The life that you want will be built. So I just want to encourage y'all in that. Just continue to show up each and every single day and never stop your relentless pursuit of continuous improvement. I look forward to talking to y'all in the next one. HP out.